One Piece chapter 1088 is an insane emotional rollercoaster, which continues on from the cliffhanger from the last chapter, as we continue with the intense battle currently unfolding on Hachinosu. This of course is between Blackbeard's crew, who are led by the former Marine Admiral Aokiji Kuzan, who is currently battling against Monkey D. Garp and the elite military force SWORD. Chapter 1087 had ended with Pizarro about to eliminate Garp and the SWORD members with his Island Fruit ability. Things were looking bleak as Koby had begged him not to attack the escaping ship, which had also innocent civilians on board. The chapter ended with an iconic line from Garp where he states that justice will always prevail. These words set us up perfectly for the events of this week's chapter. The last chapter saw us speculating on the fate of Garp, if he will be able to survive protecting Koby and the others while battling his former student Kuzan. This entire battle is underpinned by this theme of passing on the torch to the next generation, and this doesn't bode well for fans expecting Garp to survive. We are so emotionally invested into this story, and it is difficult seeing Garp sacrifice himself in order for the younger subordinates to carry on his legacy. Chapter 1088 is titled The Last Lesson, and it fits perfectly in with this theme, and the title of this chapter foreshadows an unfortunate turn of events during the end of chapter 1088. So strap yourselves in as we are headed back to Hachinosu, and we're finally going to find out what happens to Garp, Koby, Groose, Helmeppo, and the other members of SWORD. So be sure to stick around until the end of the video, where I'll be theorizing where the story of One Piece can go following this most recent incredible chapter. The chapter begins with a flashback which takes us to the old Marineford, where Garp teaches a lesson to a group of new Marine recruits. Koby is also present during this lesson. This in fact is his first lesson, which explains why he appears just like how he did during the East Blue arc. Garp poses a question to the new Marine recruits where he gives an example of a baby and an old man who are stranded on an island, and their boat can only carry 2 people, so who would they save? Koby answers that he will get down from the boat so that the baby and the old man can live. However, Garp passionately states that he is wrong, bluntly explaining that the old man doesn't have much time left anyway, so it's best to just let him die and to leave the island with the baby. He reminds the new recruits that they have become Marines in order to protect the future of the people, so incidentally themselves and the baby hold more future potential than an old man who has lived his life. He wraps up his lesson by saying that they and the baby should live on. This flashback is an ominous foreshadowing, which really leaves a pit in your stomach when you apply Garp's lessons to the events unfolding on Hachinosu at present. Following the lesson, Garp is scolded by a Marine instructor who states that all lives are equal and that he shouldn't be teaching such lessons to the students. Garp disagrees as he reaffirms that the future of young people is limitless. We then cut to another flashback from Amazon Lily, where we see Blackbeard agreeing to leave Amazon Lily, but as long as he takes 800 Marines along with him and a battleship too. Vice Admiral Yamakaji stands and watches, since he and Marine HQ don't have permission to fight a Yonko. Koby then appears and offers himself up as a prisoner instead of the others. Vice Admiral Yamakaji doesn't do much to stop Koby, since he's a member of SWORD. Now back in the present day on Hachinosu, everyone on the Marine battleship is panicking as Pizarro's giant island hand is closing in. They attempt to shoot it down, but everything they try is ineffective against it due to its gargantuan size. Tashigi starts yelling for everyone to prepare to jump into the sea in order to escape, as Koby looks at the scene in despair, well aware that hundreds of lives will be lost if the hand descends down on the ship. He turns to Garp and asks him if there's anything that they can do in this situation, to which Garp responds that the 3 of them, Koby, Helmeppo, and Prince Groose, can still save them. He quickly gives his orders to the 3 of them. First, Garp will create an opening, then Koby must destroy Pizarro's hand. Prince Groose must protect the battleship from the debris after the hand is destroyed, and finally Helmeppo must prevent anyone from interfering with Koby and Groose while they carry out their tasks. Koby is immediately shocked by this plan, quickly explaining that he cannot destroy something that big. Before he can continue though, Garp cuts him off, telling him that in battle, decisions must be made in an instant. At his command, the group moves out, each to carry out their respective roles. This causes the pirates in the vicinity to laugh, believing that without Garp's protection, the 3 of them have no hope of lasting against the Blackbeard pirates, and that Koby's reputation as a hero is worthless here. As Koby and Groose break off, Groose asks Koby why Garp had entrusted him with the task of destroying the giant hand, wondering if Koby was in possession of some kind of bomb or a similar weapon weapon that he could use. Koby responds that he doesn't have any weapon on him, but he'll come up with something. Unsurprisingly, Groose isn't impressed with Koby's lack of a plan, asking what he can do against a hand capable of destroying a battleship. The pirates around them attempt to take them down, with one even firing a cannon shot at the group. Helmeppo, remembering Garp's task to him, intercepts the cannonball with his kukri blades, stopping the shot and exploding along with it. Koby calls out for Helmeppo as he hears his screams, but Groose warns him once again not to get distracted. Meanwhile, Kuzan has once again taken a stand against Garp, commenting on the man's severe wounds. Garp responds by stating that they are just flesh wounds, before darting towards Kuzan faster than he can react. Shocked by Garp's unbelievable speed considering how wounded he is, Kuzan is immediately knocked down by Garp, who darts past him and the pirates surrounding him in order to make his way for the skull head at the center of the island where Pizarro is located. Pizarro looks on in shock, asking Garp if he even cares for the ship about to be destroyed. Garp ignores him, and with an epic attack he yells out "Galaxy Divide," completely shattering the entire skull of Hachinosu. As everyone else looks on in shock, Koby realizes that this is the opening that he has been looking for. Groose asks once more what he intends to do, to which Koby replies that he will answer his expectations before quickly heading off. Pizarro, heavily wounded by Garp's blow but still in control of the island, fumes at Garp and tells him to watch as he destroys the escaping battleship. But we then see Koby quickly approaching the hand as others have begun to take notice as well, with some mocking him that the title of hero has gone to his head for thinking that he could stop something that big. Garp, watching everything happen, thinks back to his time training Koby, and one time where he had questioned Helmeppo about the wounds that Koby constantly had on his hands and shoulders, and why these parts of his body were always bandaged up. Helmeppo explains to Garp that Koby had actually told him to keep this reason a secret. Regardless, he tells Garp anyway that Koby believes that he lacks a talent for fighting even compared to an ordinary person, and that he will have to train 100 or even 200 times harder than everyone else in order to even stand a chance at becoming an outstanding marine in order to protect people. Garp is shocked to hear that even after the rigorous training that he puts Koby through, that he would then go on and do even more on his own. Helmeppo tells him that every night with blood-soaked hands, he makes his way to the shipyard and starts punching the battleship bag. In the present, Garp grins, having full faith in his latest student, with Koby finally having reached his goal. Someone comments how it looks like nothing more than an ant attempting to stand up to the might of the hand, with Pizarro also remaining confident, as he loudly proclaims that he will destroy the battleship and anyone who survives will be quickly frozen in the sea by Aokiji's ice. We see everyone put their hope and prayers into Koby, who hardens his resolve with the knowledge that if he fails here, then everyone will die, and he will have failed to protect them. With an epic blow he calls his honesty impact, Koby shatters directly through the giant hand, breaking both it and the real Pizarro's hand into pieces. Much to the shock of everyone around them, Garp bursts out laughing with pride as Helmeppo bursts into tears for the success of his friend, and Groose bursts out in shock, wondering when Koby got this amount of power. Seeing the debris quickly descending down, Groose steps up and uses his clay ability to form a net to catch the debris and prevent it from raining down onto the ship. Helmeppo catches Koby as he begins to fall, and together they finally make it onto the escaping ship safe and sound. Garp calls them via a Dendenmushi, telling them to immediately sail away at full speed. He shockingly tells them that he will find a way to survive this situation on his own, stating that their mission is completed now that Koby has been saved. Their top priority now is to ensure their own safety. Koby insists on the ship to go back as everyone is welling up with tears, but Garp orders them to go forward because they are the future of the Marines, tying together the themes of the entire Hachinosu incident as Garp passes on the mantle to the next generation here. We see the two outcomes of the next generation via his former student Kuzan and his current student Koby. It is an incredible way for Garp's character to be utilized into the plot here. We see Garp laying on the ground laughing as ice spreads across his body. He appears to have been stabbed by an ice blade on his chest, surrounded by the Blackbeard pirates and his former student Kuzan. This is an incredibly heart-wrenching moment to read as we cut to the narrator explaining the headline of the next day's newspaper. The young hero Koby has been rescued safely. The fate of the legendary hero Garp on Hachinosu is unknown, and lastly, Luffy is taking over Egghead Island as his stronghold. The chapter ends with the Marines ship arriving at Egghead Island, with One Piece chapter 1088 2088 wrapping up and the manga going on a break next week. The latest One Piece chapter was too overwhelming. There have been a lot of discussions and theories online about the events that have just unfolded, from Garp's emotional sacrifice, the incredible power of Koby, and the news about Luffy taking over Egghead Island as his new stronghold. Garp's incredible actions have deeply moved all of us, with his amazing display of willpower and strength. He was able to hold off half of a Yonko's crew as well as Kuzan, just so that his subordinates could escape. This is an insane feat that he has demonstrated, and it explains why Garp was considered among the top 3 strongest characters in the past, along with Roger and Prime Whitebeard. Another character who honestly blew us all away was Koby. With his showcase of power, we finally learned just how strong he has become. Koby impressively was able to achieve so much over a short period of time, and it makes you wonder if Luffy would have had a similar growth if he had decided to stay with Garp and was mentored by him. Koby honed his skills and mastered Haki during the time skip, and he may not be as powerful as Luffy or Zoro, but he has just demonstrated that he has the potential to become a real force to be reckoned with when he reaches his prime. Oda really executed on some incredible storytelling in this chapter, with there being quite a few similarities between Jaguar D Soul and Garp. Now, we wouldn't think of these two characters for a comparison ordinarily, because similar to Soul, Garp's actions here are inspired by his sense of justice, with him stating that justice will prevail at the end of the last chapter, and how both Soul and Garp had suffered a similar fate following an encounter with Kuzan, which had led to them both being frozen. Now, we know that Soul had in fact survived, but we don't know if Kuzan had played a role in this. Does this mean that Garp will also be saved by Kuzan? I just find the similarities between the fates of these two characters to be very suspicious, and how Kuzan is linked to both of them. Some have theorized that Kuzan isn't killing Garp, but in fact helping him by sealing his wound here, and he is also preserving his body by freezing him. There is this hope that Kuzan is going to turn on the Blackbeard crew, and he is going to protect Garp, which in all honesty would be mind-blowing, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Additionally, Garp's final moments within the chapter were truly upsetting, as we appreciate the massive lesson that he was teaching to the newly recruited Marines at the start of the chapter. Garp has always believed that it is better to sacrifice those with little left to give in order to build a future for the young who have limitless potential. Garp's philosophy is that it is a great sacrifice to die for something, but it is an even greater sacrifice to live for something. And we see him demonstrate this in the flashback from last week, when he had sacrificed his freedom by deciding to train Kuzan and then Koby and the new recruits. This is the beauty of Garp's character and the choices that he has made in his life, which have led him up to this point where he is now sacrificing his life for the next generation. So in conclusion, that was chapter 1088. The future seems to be uncertain, but at the same time there are some rays of hope following this recent installment of the series. Koby, Helmeppo and Prince Groose have had Garp's legacy passed down to them, as they symbolize his belief in the limitless potential of youngsters. It took us a while, but 1000 chapters later, I'd found myself rooting for the Marines, and it was surreal to have experienced the supposed defeat of Garp, and then possibly him having been killed. I want to know what all of you think about the fate of Garp. Has he been killed, or is Kuzan going to rescue him and betray Blackbeard and his crew? The title of this chapter, The Last Lesson, is incredibly fitting for the events that have unfolded here. Yet again, Oda has signaled a tipping point in the saga of One Piece, as the old generation makes way for the new, as we finally begin to wrap up the One Piece story, with the pursuit to become the Pirate King really heating up amongst the potential candidates. What lies ahead for the future of Koby and the rest of SWORD? What about the response from the Marines? Will they be able to do anything in response to Garp's disappearance and Hachinosu? And lastly, what will Luffy's move be now that he has taken over Egghead Island? There are so many questions for the next chapter of One Piece, but it's going to be on a break next week, so we will have to wait in order to get our answers. As always, continue the discussion in the comments, share your theories and speculations with me, and lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next One Piece video.
If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.